Last time, Ife had been losing for 3 seasons. Not slowly, catastrophically. Every harvest, every raid, every morning after, the granaries a little emptier, the people a little more broken, the king a little more out of answers. And then a woman stepped forward in a room where she had not been invited to speak. She said 2 words. "Send me." She made a promise at the river before she left. She did not ask what the price would be. She agreed to pay it anyway. And then she walked into the enemy's hands. On purpose. This is what happened next. 3 weeks. Say it slowly so you feel what it means. 21 days. Inside the enemy camp. Alone. Without anyone who knew her real name. Without anyone she could speak honestly to. Without a single moment of safety that was not manufactured entirely by her own performance. 21 days of being someone she was not. Not an actress performing a role. An intelligence operative living a second life so completely that the first life, the palace, the king, her son, had to be locked away in a part of herself she could not afford to visit while the work was not yet done. She had done it deliberately, every choice deliberate. Made herself useful on the first day, before they decided what to do with her. Made herself predictable on the 3rd day, so they stopped watching her every single moment. Made herself forgettable by the 2nd week. The highest achievement of anyone who has ever done this kind of work. Her hands carried water. Her eyes counted soldiers. How many in the inner camp? How many on the perimeter? How many reported directly to the king, and how many to the commanders beneath him? She cataloged everything, every detail filed in the part of her mind she had designated as the mission. The part that had no feelings, no fear, no longing for home, no son waiting for his mother to return. Just information, just the work. She had seen the costumes, the enormous grass and palm frond disguises that made men look like spirits in the dark. She had seen them 3 times now, from a distance, in daylight, when they looked like bundles of dried material hanging from a frame. She needed to see them at night, in firelight, the way the Ife soldiers had seen them. The thing that made grown men drop their weapons and run. He had been watching her, not suspiciously, not the way he had watched her in the first week. Something different now, something closer to interest. She had noticed the shift. She had been counting on it. An audience watching with interest is not a threat. An audience watching with interest is an opportunity. He thought he was watching her. She had been watching him since the first night. On the 23rd night, he invited her to eat with him, not because he trusted her. She had not earned trust yet, not fully, not the kind of trust that stops watching. He invited her because he had spent 23 nights unable to completely categorize her. And a man like the Ugbo King, a man who has survived by understanding people quickly, finds the uncategorized thing more interesting and more unsettling than anything else. She had been expecting the invitation. She had been engineering it since the 4th day, not through charm, not through beauty, through the careful maintenance of exactly enough mystery to make a suspicious man curious, and exactly enough mundanity to make that suspicious man believe the mystery was accidental. There is a particular kind of dinner that is not really a dinner, where the food is beside the point, where the conversation is beside the point, where even the silence is beside the point being to read the other person so thoroughly that by the time the meal is finished, you know exactly what kind of threat or asset they represent.
You have been here many weeks. You have not tried to run.
She had rehearsed this question, not the answer, the space before the answer, the length of the pause, the angle of her face when she looked up, the quality of stillness in her hands. Every detail of this moment had been considered in advance, because every detail of this moment was being observed and recorded by a man who forgot nothing.
Where would I run to?
Home.
Home. 1 syllable. And behind it, a palace she had walked out of 23 days ago. A husband who had memorized her face the morning she left. A son who had been told not to forget hers. She put it away. All of it. Back into the locked room she could not afford to visit until the work was done. And then she answered him.
I told you. There is nothing there for me. I was a chief's wife. He chose another. The rest does not matter.
Moremi had not invented the grief. That was the genius of it. She had taken a real grief, the grief of leaving her son, of walking away from her son's face and not looking back. And she had placed it in a different context, given it a different story, a different address. But the grief itself was entirely real, and he could feel it, because real things have a weight that performance does not. He believed what he wanted to believe, and that is not a criticism of him. Powerful men want to believe that the interesting woman in front of them has been underestimated by other men, that the man who let her go was a fool, that they, the powerful man, the perceptive man, the man who notices things, would have known better. It is a vanity as old as power itself, and Moremi had counted on it.
I have been called both.
After the dinner, things were different, not dramatically different. Nothing in the Ugbo camp changed dramatically. Dramatic change in a military operation means something has gone wrong. But the small things changed. The soldiers who had looked through her now looked at her. The soldiers who had watched her now watched her differently, with the slightly awkward deference of men who have registered that someone above them has expressed an interest. She was given tasks closer to the center, more trusted tasks, the kind that required proximity to the Ugbo King's shelter, to his advisors, to the conversations that shaped the camp's decisions. She listened to things she was not supposed to be hearing. She absorbed them completely. She gave no sign that she had heard them. And then, 2 days after the dinner, she walked past the costume storage at a different time of day. In afternoon light, they looked like craft materials, like the kind of thing a market woman might sell by the bundle. She stopped. Not visibly. She did not stop walking. She did not turn her head. She did not slow her pace. But something in her mind stopped, went back, revisited the descriptions that had come back to Ife with the soldiers who had survived the raids, the things they had seen, the things that had made them run. She looked at the dried grass, at the woven palm fronds, at the wooden frames that gave them shape. She filed it back into the designated part of her mind, to be revisited tomorrow night, when the new moon came, when she would see them as they were meant to be seen, in firelight, in darkness, at close range. One more day. She could wait one more day. The new moon, no light from the sky, no light from the ground except the lowered fires. The Ugbo raided on the new moon for exactly this reason, in absolute darkness, with fires at their backs, and nothing but shadow ahead of them. The disguises worked best. She had been in position since before the fires were lowered. She had learned, in 3 weeks of watching, that the preparation happened in the hour before midnight on new moon nights, that the warriors assembled in the eastern part of the camp, where the costume storage was kept, that the Ugbo King himself came to oversee the preparation, and only the preparation. He did not lead the raids in person. He sent others. He stayed back and commanded. She watched them assemble, 12 warriors, moving quietly, efficiently, with the ease of men who have done this many times before. No ceremony, no visible fear, just preparation. The way a market woman sets out her goods before dawn. Routine. There. That. That was what the Ife soldiers had seen, coming out of the bush at midnight, at harvest time, when the people were already afraid. 3 seasons of that. 3 seasons of grown soldiers dropping their weapons and running from what appeared to be the end of the world, walking toward them on human legs. She understood it now. Completely. Not as someone watching a ritual, as someone seeing the mechanism of 3 seasons of defeat for the very first time. The thing that had broken Ife's soldiers. The thing that had emptied the granaries. The thing that had sent Moremi on the road to this camp 24 nights ago. They were not spirits. They were not magic. They were men. Men wearing dried grass. Men wearing palm fronds. Men wearing the specific darkness and the specific terror that come from being seen in firelight in the middle of the night when no one is expecting something that large to come out of the bush. And dried grass burns.
Grass burns.
3 seasons, 12 raids, scores of soldiers broken, granaries emptied, a king without answers, a city losing its feeling of safety, Explained. In one night, by one woman who was patient enough, and brave enough, and controlled enough to walk into the place where the answer lived and wait quietly until it showed itself. She had what she came for. The knowledge was in her. Grass burns. All she had to do now, the only remaining task between this moment and the salvation of Ife, was get home alive, with the information intact, without raising an alarm that would send the Ugbo King's fastest soldiers after her before she reached Ife's gates. She had everything she needed. The knowledge was complete. The intelligence was sound. She could have run the previous night, while the warriors were away on the raid, while the camp was at its most empty. She had considered it. She had rejected it, not because of sentiment, not because of anything she might have been feeling across that fire, because of calculation. Pure, cold, operational calculation. Running while the warriors were away would be noticed immediately upon their return. The Ugbo King would know within hours that she had gone. The fastest Ugbo runners could cover the distance to Ife in the same time she could. She needed a head start that could only come from leaving at a moment when her absence would not be noticed for as long as possible. That moment was tonight. After this meal, after this conversation, after she had said goodnight, as normally as she had said goodnight for 23 previous nights, she would go to her sleeping place, wait for the deepest hour, and run. One last evening. She did not allow herself to think of it as a last evening. That kind of thinking puts a particular quality in the eyes, a farewell quality, that a man who reads people for a living would notice immediately.
You seem different tonight.
Do I?
Lighter. Like something has been decided.
I have decided to stop waiting for my old life to come back. Some things do not come back.
No, they do not.
She almost felt something she was not supposed to feel. Not guilt. Guilt would have required believing she owed him something. She owed him nothing. His raids had broken her city. His soldiers had emptied her people's granaries. Whatever he was in this tent, in this firelight, in this moment, the other thing he was had not changed. In a different arrangement of the world, he might have been someone she respected. But the world was arranged as it was, and she had a city to save, and she was leaving tonight. She thanked him for the meal. She did not look back. Looking back is for people who are not sure. She walked to her sleeping place. She lay down. She waited. She waited until the 3rd hour after midnight. Not the 2nd hour, not the 4th, the 3rd. She had observed, over 24 nights, that the 3rd hour after midnight was the specific window when the perimeter rotation was at its farthest point from the camp's center, when the fewest eyes were closest to the exit she would use. She moved the way she had learned to move in 24 nights of practice, like a woman with no particular purpose, going nowhere in particular, the specific quality of movement that does not attract the eye. Not too fast, not too slow, not too deliberate, not too casual. The middle register, invisible, past the sleeping soldiers, past the weapon racks, past the costumes, that would never terrify another Ife soldier after tonight. Past the Ugbo King's tent, she paused. Not long enough to be called a pause, long enough to be honest about. Then she walked on, and then she was at the edge, the place where their world ended and the road home began. She had 1 second. 1 second to cross the line between belonging to the camp and belonging to the road, between the identity she had performed for 24 nights and the identity that was waiting on the other side of the bush. She ran. 24 nights of stillness. 24 nights of slow, deliberate, carefully calibrated movement. And now the opposite of all of it. Not away from something, toward a palace, toward a husband who had been told not to stop hoping, toward a son she had told herself she would not think about until the work was done. The work was done. She was going home. She was going home, with the thing that would save them. Grass burns. After 3 seasons, 2 words. She has the secret. Grass and fire. 3 seasons of terror. Explained in 2 words by a woman who walked into the enemy's world and waited patiently until it showed her exactly how to defeat itself. But she is still running. And she made a promise at a river before any of this began. A promise she has not told her husband about. A promise she has not told anyone. A promise whose price the river goddess has not yet named. Part 3. The battle, the victory, the reunion with her son, and then, the river comes to collect. Subscribe. You do not want to miss what she agreed to pay.